Hi guys, this is Tom from Metalloud, and I just wanted to take some time and talk to you guys about a few things about the site. First of all, I want to talk about our ethical policy and my ethical policy personally. Anytime that I feel there's a conflict of interest with reviewing a band, if it's a friend's band, if it's a band that I've supported financially or in any way, shape, or form, I will disclose that to you. I will let you know before the review that this is a band I funded on Kickstarter. This is a band, that I'm personally friends with, something like that, just to let you guys know and put that out in the open. Fortunately, right now, I don't have any other writers for the site, so I can't really recuse myself. It would be nice if I did and they could at least hand, the review off to somebody. But in lieu of that, I will be at least disclosing to you anytime there is some sort of personal conflict that I feel needs to be addressed, so that way you guys know going into the review what you can expect. Also want to talk about why I do the reviews, how I do the reviews, and kind of what you can expect from the reviews themselves. If you've noticed on the site, there are absolutely no numerical scores whatsoever. I do not believe in a numerical score. I feel like it's kind of a cop-out. It's kind of used just to kind of say, hey, this is my opinion's better than everyone else, and to start arguments on the internet about why this album got a 9.3 and why this album got a 9.8, and how does this one better, and your music sucks because it's this album got a 7 and my favorite album is all 9, so your music definitely sucks. And I just feel like that's not something I want to be involved with. I feel like a review score kind of just doesn't really do anything for a person who's looking at a review to get a form an opinion on something. The whole point of review is to say, I want to buy, I'm interested in buying this album. Should I spend my money on it? And I try to, with that in mind, that's kind of how my mindset as far as writing an album. I want to give you an idea of what it's like to listen to this album. And, I try to be as open as possible with my opinion about things. I try to be objective during the review and describe what sounds are coming from the album, what style you can expect. But I kind of try to give you guys an idea of my opinion on it and why I feel, something I like, something I don't like, because my opinion is going to differ from yours. There might be a part of a song where it's just, one note for 5 minutes and, just somebody screaming over it. That might be something that I really enjoy, but it might be something that you hate. I'm going to put it out there and say, this is what happens. I like this. So you can get an idea and say, well, okay, that's what happens. I don't like it. That's not something I like. So I try to give you guys an idea of what to expect when you actually listen to the album. I want you to read or listen to one of my reviews and say, okay, I get an idea of this album. I know what to expect. I know what it's going to sound like, and I know whether or not I want to buy it. And the whole thing of the objectivity of it, a lot of people who do media reviews say you can't possibly be objective. Reviews are just opinion, and that's not really true at all. A review should be as objective as possible. Obviously your opinion is going to permeate through it, and the review itself is an opinion on the subject matter, but when the actual review itself should be as objective as possible. I should be able to read your review or listen to your review or watch your review and say, okay, I know what it's like to listen to this album. I know what it's like to play this game. I know what to expect from this movie. I know what I'm going to see. I know what I'm going to experience. And then form my own opinion on whether or not that becomes worth it to me to actually spend the money and actually experience it. That's how I try to write the reviews. To give you guys I don't want to give you guys my opinion. I don't want you guys to take my opinion and treat it like gospel. I don't want you to say, oh, he doesn't like this album, so I'm not going to listen to this album because it sucks. I want you to listen to my reviews and say, okay, he doesn't like this album because XYZ, but I like X and Y. Maybe I'll like this album. I'll check it out. you guys to build a foundation based on my opinion in my review, and just form your own opinion based off of that, not just taking my opinion and just, that's your opinion. I don't want to see that. That's not what I'm here for. So I like I said, I try to be as objective as possible in describing the sounds from it. I will give you my opinion. I will definitely, be able to tell you whether or not I like something, or if I like this album, or I think it's a good album. The other part, if you notice, usually when I end the review, I kind of address who I think this album is aimed at. So you can get the idea of, I'm a fan of metalcore, I'll like this album, or I'm a fan of this band's old stuff, so maybe I won't like this because it's a new direction for them. And that's also kind of goes back to why I don't do review scores, because it's also hard to say, well, this is a great album on its own, but, compared to this band's old stuff, it's not that great. So what do I do for the review score? It's a great album, but, if I'm rating it as a fan of this band, I'm probably going to give it a lower score than just rating it as, I've never listened to any of their old stuff, I'm just listening to this album, and it's a great album, but it's just not up to the standards of their old stuff. Something like that. And then it's kind of like, well, where do I go with the review score? And I feel like that's the problem with a lot of review scores. Is a lot of people, when they review something, they already have this formed opinion on what they're reviewing, so it kind of affects their actual score, and that's just why I don't feel a review score really accurately represents the actual reviewer's opinion on something, and doesn't give you kind of a real sense of what the actual item is. And I try to avoid that as much as I can, which again is, why I don't do those review scores. They really do not help. I don't think they help anyone other than people who are just looking for an argument on the internet. So, that's pretty much it for this. Thank you for listening to my rant about things. I just want to give you guys some insight about the site, about me, a little bit about me personally, why I do the things I do, and just to, give you guys an idea of my ethics about things, what I'll actually let you know. I will disclose things to you, so you don't have any kind of worry about going to my site and seeing something like an advertisement for a band. My reviews will never be an advertisement, regardless of how I feel or if I'm friends with a band or not. I will try to avoid that as much as I can, but I will give you the disclosure beforehand on whether or not I am friends with this band, whether I like this band beforehand going into it. So you can, again, my whole point is I want you to form an opinion. I want you to form your own opinion. If it aligns with mine, great. That's awesome. I love that. If it doesn't, that's also great. Obviously, we're all not going to get along. We're all not going to have the same opinion. We're not going to agree on a lot of things. But that's what makes people, and that's great. I appreciate you guys, taking the time to listen to this, to watch my reviews, and to visit the site. Thank you guys a lot, and you guys take care.